given these following 4 roots, I can see of the roots, I have 2 real roots, and I have 2 roots that are complex because they contain i's. I want to come up with a polynomial equation that contains these 4 given roots. I'm going to start by doing this. Now, I'm going to refer to this as the Damien method in 1 second. I'm going to distribute this negative sign, and I get x minus 1 minus the square root of 2i. Make sure that I goes behind the square root. Then I have x minus 1 plus the square root of 2i. Now here's the pattern that Damien was able to see. He saw that when we have 2 of these, I can write x minus 1 quantity squared, and then I'm going to multiply these 2 and back. So a negative times a positive is a negative, and the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, and I times I is I squared. Now I know the square root of 4 is 2, and I know that I squared is negative 1. So when I combine these, I get a positive 2. I'm going to write this down twice, and some of you may have already recognized this pattern. When you take the exact same binomial times itself, we do the fronts, we do the backs, and then the inside and the outside are the same. So negative 1x and negative 1x combine to give you a negative 2x. I'm going to combine these. X squared minus 2x plus 3. I am now done with combining these 2. I'm going to come now to these 2. So I'm going to write down x minus 2, and 2 negatives make a positive. And I'm going to do the front, the outside, the inside, and the last. And I have x squared plus 1x minus 6. Now I'm going to show you what's called the box method. Now I have found that when I taught mainstream, so non-honors classes, there was much less mistakes. And if you feel rushed, this may be something you want to consider. So there's 3 items here. I need to make sure there's 3 items. And there's 3 items here. Okay, so I put down an x squared, a 1x, and a negative 6, an x squared, a minus 2x, and a positive 3. And let's see if I can darken this in, because it's very possible that people in back have a hard time seeing, especially with my messy handwriting. So again, I have found that there's less mistakes if you use the box method. You don't have to. So I'm going to multiply. I get x to the 4th, multiply, I get x to the 3rd, multiply negative 6x squared. Multiply negative 2x to the 3rd, multiply negative 2x squared, multiply a positive 12x. Multiply is a positive 3x squared, multiply is a positive 3x, and multiply is a negative 18. Now I think that there's less opportunity to make mistakes when you combine like terms. There's only 1x to the 4th. I'm done. Now watch this. Diagonal. Negative 2x cubed and positive 1 is a negative 1x cubed. Done. Watch this. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 minus 6 is a negative 5x squared. And here's a positive 3 and a positive 12 is a positive 15x minus 18, and I am done. Back same instruction here is given these following zeros. We have 2 real and we have 2 complex. We want to create a polynomial equation. So I'm going to write down x subtract this quantity in factor form, and x subtract this quantity. Make sure to put it in parentheses or that will be your first mistake. So here we go. So I'm going to distribute the negative, and I have x subtract 3 plus the square root of 7i, and x subtract 3 minus the square root of 7i. Again, we're going to apply in this video the Damien method, so I see the same quantity twice. I'm writing x minus 3 quantity squared, and then I'm circling this part that off to the side. I'm going to multiply. A positive times a negative is a negative. 7 times 7 is 49. I'm going to let you guys help me with some of the math here. I times I is I squared. So this is negative 7, and then I squared is negative 1. So I need to add on a positive 7 in the back. Now, myself, and I'm guessing all of you are going to start to recognize that when we need to expand this, I do the front, I do the back, and negative 3x and negative 3x is a negative 6x, and now I bring down the positive 7. X squared minus 6x plus 16 is going to be these 2 roots. Now, I heard Fabian say something that is important. When you have a 0, let me show you the slow way, x minus 0 and x minus a negative 4. X subtracted negative 4 is a positive. Well, x minus 0, we're not taking anything away from x. All we're doing when we actually take this and we distribute it to the others is we're just adding an additional x on. So in this parenthesis, I have x squared plus 4x. We can still use the box method for this. You don't have to. This is just an option. Again, I want to give you options, and I want you to choose the option that you think you can do the fastest and you can do it effectively. I don't want you to have mistakes. So x squared and 4x, I have x squared minus 6x and a positive 16. Multiply x to the 4th, multiply negative 6x to the 3rd, multiply 16x squared. Multiply is 4x to the 3rd, multiply is negative 24x squared, and multiply is, that's a 64x. Okay, so there's only one group of x to the fourth. When we don't have it where it is like a 3 by 3 or a 2 by 2, we do have to look through to find these. Okay, so we have a negative 3 and a positive 4, negative 2x cubed. Putting these together, and we have a negative 8x squared plus 64x. Can you raise your hand if you came up with the same answer?